And we're live.
All right. We are live here, folks. We got a special guest tonight. We have Will Turner from Bulls 247 to discuss and break down USF football's 45-0 loss at NC State on Thursday night. He was there, unfortunately, depending on your viewpoint.
Yeah. They got a cool stadium.
They do.
It was a cool stadium.
Did you see the wolf sculpture or whatever? Isn't that right outside?
Yeah, we walked by it at like 1:45 in the morning after we left. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we kind of get kicked off, I know we posted 3 stories this morning that we're not going to really touch on tonight. This is going to be strictly football centric. We will have a live stream podcast tomorrow night around the same time. Then we will definitely get into those stories, as well as having a couple of those writers on the podcast to discuss their thoughts, feelings as we navigate this new era of USF and college expansion, and where that leaves USF. But for tonight, we're going to keep it to football and kind of break down what happened. Oh man,
there was a lot that happened.
Yeah, there was some good, there was some bad, more bad than good, but it wasn't. I think Colin today said it was the greatest 45-0 performance of all time. I'm not quite there, but it wasn't. It was not as bad as it was not Wisconsin.
No,
Wisconsin, they couldn't. I don't know if they got past the 50 in the Wisconsin game until like the very end of the game. This was, you got the ball inside the red zone, on the edge red zone 4 times, I think. You had chances to score.
Yeah.
You just didn't. So we'll see. You guys ready to get into the film?
Oh, absolutely. Seth's he's done it. He's done the work again, and he's going to help us break down some of the more key plays. As he pulls that up, I just want to kind of go over the game stats real quick, the things that kind of stand out. NC State 525 yards of total offense. They rushed for almost 300 yards, 8 for 13 on third down, while USF was 3 for 16, and they went 0 for their first 11. That really kind of set everything back. And NC State averaged 8 yards per play, while USF averaged 4.2, and a lot of that was in garbage time. So without further ado, Seth, what you got for us?
Well, we'll start with the defense, but really this game was like the tale of 2 tips, which coincidentally is the name of a romance novel I'm working on. But it's really like a tip went the way for North Carolina State, went against USF on their first drive. We'll see both of them. But it's really kind of was one of those nights. But we'll start with the defense. It's mostly going to be good stuff because I thought the defense played well until they got tired.
Yeah.
So let's check them out early here. Good job playing run pretty stout here with only like 5 guys in the box. He doesn't even get into the play here. It's really this group of 5 right there. Does a good job. I think Boyles makes the tackle, but
Boyles in on it to start, and then Mims does a great job kind of coming off that edge right there to
and I think Mims ended up leading the team in tackles. Is that correct?
Yeah, 14.
They hit a great game. You'll see him flash, I think, on this next play here. But early in the game, they were able to kind of stand up to some of the run game stuff. You see here, the defensive line is not big, but we talked about they might do stuff like this, moving here, coming back around, kind of getting movement, making it a little bit more difficult to get up to linebackers and that type of stuff. And you see Andrew Mims come in and make another play. Here is the third down. So these are all from the first drive, I believe. Here's the third down. We talked about it at halftime, but he is throwing the ball right here. This is just terrible luck. The quarterback is looking to throw the ball right here. There's a dig route coming in there. He does not see Boyles. If this throw comes clean, it might get picked by Boyles, and then he's got a route to the sideline. It gets tipped instead, and we all saw it happen. Just one of those nights.
See, but then again, you've got how many? 1, 2, 3 players that are within the vicinity,
And Nate brought this up at halftime of the game. Once the ball is tipped, go smoke somebody.
Yep.
Right.
You don't have to.
Right.
Once the ball
There's
gets
no
tipped,
PI involved.
So it's just like, guys have not played a ton in the back end, especially.
Especially Matt Hill. He was a wide receiver at Auburn, so obviously, he should know that because I'm sure he's gotten smoked more times than he cares to. He probably can't remember on tip drills, but it's those live game action moments that it's a teaching moment, and I think Glenn Spencer and that staff probably discussed hit someone.
Yeah,
that ball gets tipped, hit someone.
Go attack. So then you get into another third down here. I thought this was just as much of a killer as the last one.
I think this is the play you and I touched on too,
Yeah.
Seth.
So you got the corners rolled up here. The nickel ends up playing deep third or getting over the top. The corner stays in the flat right here. He's got eyes on the back. If he stays with him, you see he starts to go with him. The quarterback breaks contain here. But right now, if he just stays there, the quarterback's got nothing. Because right here, you got an end coming. I believe this is Greer coming. He's got nothing, but now you peel off. You try to add on and make a play. He just dumps over your head. Easy third down conversion. And what happens the very next play? You get caught in man coverage. Roll out, get the safety to go with you.
Smoked.
Yeah, Boyles just kind of got burned there, which I saw it, because I was on field during this. I saw just kind of how that wheel route kind of elevated, and I thought Boyles kind of got lost in coverage to start, but he just got plain burnt.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup. This dude's really good. And then the roll gets this, kind of holds the safety back here. So they go double post and then roll that back. This is just a really well-designed play. But the shame of it is you could have got off the field twice and probably should have the way you played it. Just one mistake here or there keeps you on the field, and then they score. And then I just wanted to show this because I thought late in the game, North Carolina State was rolling off the ball with this wide zone and had worn the USF defensive line out. But watch them early in the game. Watch these guys getting off blocks, shedding blocks right there. Press him and then shed him.
Looks like Tyrone Barber or Rayshawn Yates, maybe.
That's pretty good right there. Shed him right back here. You see again a beaten across face. That's a pretty good job. Coming flat down the line, making a tackle. And they did that quite a bit early. And then here's the third down on the next drive. So second drive of the game. You see we're only rushing 3, but we win right here one-on-one with the center. I think that's Blake Green. Watch this move right there.
Yeah, that's a great move.
Put some pressure in the quarterback's face, and now it's an errant throw, and we get off the field on third down. So they did not play bad early.
And I brought this up the other night was that, NC State had 38 offensive plays in the first half, had 38 of their 69 snaps in the first half, but I think over 22 of them came in that first quarter because you had 2 9-play drives and a 6-play drive.
Yeah, I looked early in. I thought it was early in the second quarter, right at the very end of I think it was very early in the second quarter because I think they kept the ball from the first quarter break, right? And they were on. I thought North Carolina State was on pace for like 100 plays, and I'm like, if you're going to be on pace for that many plays, USF is in big trouble. And the defense held stout for most of the early game, and then the dam broke on them, and then after that, there's no kind of coming back if you don't do anything offensively. So again, another nice play, and then here's the pick. We watched it at halftime. Gets beat a little bit, but good recovery speed and great job high pointing the ball, making a play on defense, giving yourself a chance to get back in the game at this point. You're down 3 scores, but you're giving yourself a chance at least. So I thought the defense before they got worn out did some pretty good stuff, especially for that size mismatch.
Yeah,
we were all kind of worried about going into the game. They held up before they got worn out, I thought.
Yeah,
that was just a terrible throw.
It was.
We can't. That is just a terrible, god-awful throw.
He's beat with a better ball, but I think showing his receiver skills going up and showing the ball skills to go up and get that is a good play. But yeah, better ball beats him. All right, so we're going to start with the offense. We're going to start with the first drive, first play.
Great first play.
Right here, you're going to pull
Look at
guard.
Demontre Jacobs coming across.
I mean, this is well done right here.
Yeah.
Really well done. Blocked really well. I just don't know how. I don't know if they go back to this, right? They didn't go back to. They kind of went to it late, and we'll see some of the stuff where they run the jet sweep and they start running this. But I mean, this is well done right off the gate here. It's like a down play where your tight end's coming down, kicking out, and then you got the backside tackle coming. This is really well done.
I think you saw this kind of play. If you guys watched the Florida State Notre Dame game, I think it was Florida State who ran. They basically pulled the left side of the line and like gained, I think, close to 15 yards on it. Like it's an effective play when it's executed, and that first play couldn't have been drawn up any better. And I think once they hit that first down marker, I thought Felix was gone. Like I was like, oh my god, this is actually going to happen. And then
he was in a ton of space here.
Yeah.
It was perfectly. This is a great job, perfectly drawn up. A lot of teams are going to that, pulling the backside. Guard and tackle. Good tackle there by the safety, but great first play.
And then it all goes downhill.
Then your second play, here's the second tip. We talked about the tale of two tips right here. You get exactly what you want. These guys all play run. They're playing pretty aggressive.
Yep.
I mean, that's like a nickel or a safety rolled down there. He goes in like he's going to block. Slips it. You get exactly what you want here. Just gets a little fingertip on it, forces it wide. But I mean, if he catches this thing clean, he's coming across this way. I don't know if he scores because I don't think he's one of your faster guys. But
he's gritty. He's a lunch pail guy.
Great route runner, but he's probably gonna pick up a bunch of yards. And
Mr. Consistency, if you will.
That's correct. So if you hit him on the run, he's going to do something with the ball, and he's pretty good after the catch without a ton of speed, but not bad after the catch.
Right.
Here's one that's like throw it in the trash or only run it with McLean. This is not a great play because if first of all, it's not if it's run right, it's not bad. But here you're putting him in a bind right now. If I'm him, I'm pitching that thing just
right. Yeah, you're trying to run speed option here,
but you're not really. It's an old play. Clemson ran it a ton with Deshaun Watson, but everybody runs it now. We were basically running power. He's going to pull for this guy, and you're going to read him. If he widens out with a toss, the quarterback keeps it inside. If he kind of stays down in the middle, you pitch it, or if he takes quarterback. If I'm Fortin coming out of here, I'm thinking I'm pitching it unless he really flies out. Like he's got to be way out there for me not to pitch it.
Right.
He kind of gets caught in between, and you kind of see what Fortin's thinking. Oh, well, he's not playing me per se, so I'll keep it. But it's like, dude, pitch that thing. If he pitches it,
because
you've got a good block here by Brinkman. He's got the edge. Like this isn't. You do not want
because he collapsed immediately after getting around the offensive line, and
right there. I think he's already decided I'm pulling it. But if he plays this a little more, just pitch that thing out there. You got it. So this is the third play of the game right here. It could have been another big play. So right now, first down is a 16-yarder. Second down, ball gets tipped. Could have been another big play. This third play here, quarterback pitches it. The read's a little murky, but if you give it to him, I mean, that's probably another pretty good gain right there. Instead, you lose it. And now the play that everyone was gifting and making fun of on Twitter, the screen. We'll watch it from here, but when you see the other cut of it, it looks even worse. But not because of the call, it's because of the execution. So we got another look at it here. So we'll look at it from the wide view. All they're trying to do is they're running off. It's a design shallow screen. The back's going to come out like he's catching a pass, but all he's going to do is block. Again, vertical, run right behind his feet, get shallow. And you want to use this back as a little bit of a pick. Use his block, right? So right here, make the guy run through traffic, right? And you'll see it better on the other view. But right there, don't go there. Go right off his feet. If he stays flat, this guy's either got to get over the top, but we're getting some push here, or he's going to run into it, and now he's free. When you run backwards, that's not good.
I've never heard of scoring a touchdown running backward.
So right here, if he stays, you can see it a little better here. He's starting to get push. If he just stays flat, let's imagine he stays flat down this line right here. And now he's catching it like here. And this guy has to slow up a little bit because of all this traffic. Or maybe he doesn't even adjust downhill because he's not going downhill. He runs into this. Well, now you got a pretty decent play. But when you go back 7 yards and catch it, it's
almost, basically just a simple drag route that he just kind of decided to go backwards on for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he saw him and was like, oh, I got to get around this block, and just started heading that way and just like lost track of where he was. I mean, that's got to be the only explanation, right? So that was bad. But so that was, that's kind of indicative of the whole night here. I think I read today, if you follow Parker Fleming's Stats of War and CFB Graphs, I think he said USF average starting field position was like their 18-yard line for the game.
It wasn't ideal.
That's really bad.
Let me give you the actual one let's see if I can find it. I still have the old. Yeah. So for USF, it was the NC State 32-yard line. However, their first, couple of drives, it was USF 25, USF 17, USF 6 was the first 3 drives.
Yeah, his
and then another USF 25.
His steps were all non-garbage time, so
sure,
it filters out some of the stuff at the end, but
yeah,
still not great, right? You're having to drive. You're not playing on offense. You're having to drive the ball a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
just looking at this real quick, they started 4 drives inside their own 10-yard line. And then 2 inside their own 20. All of them resulted in punts and or interceptions. So
and then you give and on the other side of that means North Carolina State got really good field position all night on a tired defense.
Yeah.
Recipe for getting beat 45-0. It's a pretty good one.
Andrew Stokes did flip the field though.
He did. He looked pretty good. I think he averaged like 45 yards a punt or something like that.
Easily.
So interesting wrinkle here.
45.1.
There you go. Interesting wrinkle here. 4 guys to a side, but one of them is the tight end. So you got to respect the tight end with the backer up on the edge. He's got to play that edge. If he doesn't, then you run the ball there or run like outside zone or something. Safety's got to stay back because you still got the back can play. If you're playing one high safety, they're probably man in the back this way. But what's that get you is one-on-ones outside.
Yep.
The tight end's ineligible because he's covered up, but you come out fast, it's hard to kind of recognize. So you get one-on-ones. Not the cleanest pocket, but not a bad pocket. This is one that you just wish you could have because Jimmy Horn just smoked that dude.
Yeah, so this was the play that I kept bringing up, when I was down on the field. I'm probably standing about the 20-yard line here watching this one and seeing how Horn, I mean, when I tell you Horn had a step and a half on everybody, I mean, he had it off the line. You almost wish that like it was just so hard to kind of see how that play developed, but he had a step and a half literally on everybody else.
Yeah, so he got the one-on-one, which is great, right? You're just trying to get one-on-ones manufactured. Fortin maybe is a little jacked up his first start, overshoots it a little bit, but you got a guy open. If he catches that, I don't know if anybody catches him. I think this dude might pull his hamstring trying to catch him because he was flying.
Well, I mean, he may pull up and pretend he pulled his hamstring.
Yeah, he kind of gave up towards the end of the play anyway.
Pull his pride muscle.
Yeah. Can we talk about what the hell's going on, Brad Cecil, on this play?
Yeah, I think so you get a little movement here. So North Carolina State might make it easy. Get a little movement. He's it looks like they're setting this way. So he kind of oversets a little bit, seeing this guy being wide, and he's coming in. Now he's got to try to readjust. and he kind of reaches instead of being able to readjust with his feet.
Doesn't have a good base and
falls, but then I think he gets a nice little leg whip on the defender, on the blitzer there to kind of help out. So he did his best falling, I think, but it was just, first game, you see that guy's out there wide, so I want to set to him. I don't want him to beat me off my outside. Well, then they catch you in a slant, and now he comes back across your face, and you got to readjust, and you weren't quite ready for it. So now you're off base, off balance, right? Another third down. This is one we touched on at halftime. Double slant. They check to this. Double slant's read inside out. So bang, he sees he doesn't like the inside. You see his eyes adjust. He's just a little late. Right here, as soon as you see this guy turn, he's taking that away. Bang, eyes outside. And then he gets there, but then he just kind of airmails it. Now, this is one thing we talked about. This back has got to get up into the line of scrimmage. One thing you hate as a quarterback is there's nobody here. They're only bringing 3. This guy just sitting in my lap for no reason. Get up in the line of scrimmage. Get out of my way. Let me clear. Because what happens when you can't transfer your weight? What he doesn't get a great weight transfer. The ball sails on you.
Yep.
So you got a guy. You're basically your running back is basically muddying up your pocket right here. So I think that's the transfer in there at running back.
Yeah, Manga.
And just dude, get out the way. Get up in the line of scrimmage. So not a great throw, but I think if the back's there and he can actually transfer his weight, it'll help a little bit. But he was off kind of all night. Here's the kind of another look. Jet sweep. You see he plays a jet sweep. You got this little bender coming in here, this little dig route. Just got to put it on him. Just a little bit behind him here. You've got some space. Throw it in there. He just misses. And that once you start not hitting those kind of throws, that's when teams start playing more aggressive. So for whatever reason, now we can talk about this more after, but I thought they made a switch for one reason, and then Coach was talking today, and he says some different things that are a little different than what I was thinking.
Wait, Seth, are you telling me that it's not that being named QB1 is actually just another thing of saying, hey, it's still an open competition for the first 4 weeks, even though we posted on social media and had this whole big to-do, a huge feature about the quarterback and another walk and talk with the quarterback and made everything about Cade, and then it's still an open competition?
Yeah,
maybe
apparently so.
Maybe they had multiple features ready to go, like when Seinfeld had Giuliani and Dinkins on, and whoever won, they slid him in there for the frozen yogurt. Maybe it was like that. They had stories on everybody ready to go. Who knows? But here you go, McClain getting in. He obviously had something in the run game. That's why I thought he was brought in to add to the run game and bring some stuff in. Maybe not.
Put that defender on skates. That was fun.
But you can't play him the same way as Fortin. This dude, we talked about at halftime, thinks he can kind of slide in here and get back out. McClain is a plus athlete. It ain't gonna happen, dude. You better stay wide. Which they changed how North Carolina State has to play. They had one off the back and kind of let him play with it a little bit. They started bringing 2 guys off the back.
Yep.
Because at that point, you've got to respect the run, because now USF has got the ability to be able to run it, not even just from a back's perspective, but out of the quarterback spot, because obviously Cade's not going to threaten unless he's scrambling. He's not going to threaten with his legs. You got to respect the run here.
And if you're North Carolina State, Cade, keep it. Go ahead.
Right.
All right.
Seth, I got a question for you on this one. Can you go reset to this play? All right. So you kind of see the alignment here, right? You see you've got everyone's kind of lined up on the right-hand side of the offense, right?
Yeah.
So you've got basically 3 guys accounting for the running back and the quarterback. Is it possible, and maybe this is just for my stupid brain, is it possible just kind of check out of that, maybe flip the running back to the other side, maybe this is my my Madden brain. Just flip it to the other side because you got numbers on the other side. Like, how quickly can you flip it to the other side, get the numbers, and still run that play effectively?
It depends on what concept, but like if you watch Florida this weekend, their first touchdown, that's exactly what they did. They're on the goal line. The quarterback saw a kind of an overload look to one side. He moved it back, and they ran speed option away from it for an easy touchdown. And that was just to check the line of scrimmage. But that's stuff you're probably not going to get from a freshman.
Right.
So, there's that kind of thing. And then I don't know if they give the quarterback that freedom. Not everybody does it. Sometimes it'll be like, we'll do check with me. You look to the sideline and get any switches. But I don't think this is a bad play call for what they're in. They're running wide zone, it looks like. So ideally, you're looking at he's getting there, then gets vertical. They're working on him. If everybody gets it, you're looking at a hat on a hat. So it's not a terrible play to be in. They just got to figure this is what if it's wide zone, this is the kind of the question. What's happening here at right tackle? If it's straight zone, he's got to be coming here too. I got to be stepping here. Maybe it's an RPO and they lock him, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're kind of just throwing hands. So
slightly, I think because USF ran a lot of RPO out of that particular formation too. It could be, but if it's regular zone here, even the zone run on, it's hard to see there. Maybe if there's somebody down here running something, but if not, if it's just straight zone and the right tackle just goes right here and let McClain hold these guys off the back edge, you don't have a bad play. You kind of get them to slow down a little bit just with McClain, the threat he brings. This guy kind of doesn't close. But the back does a good job getting vertical. And that's pretty decently blocked by everybody else. Even with that overload, that's not a bad play to have on. You see here, they kind of get the numbers on it. If this guy's out of the picture, I'm really able to get it wide and then press vertical. Like, just imagine he's gone. And now Felix is pressing vertical 100 miles an hour to that guy. You make a move, make a miss, now you're gone. At worst, maybe I'm getting touched 5 yards downfield. He's still nice hard run, but just that little tweak there, whatever it was. If it was RPO, then the quarterback maybe has got to look to pull that and throw it. But if not, that might have been just the right tackle kind of messing up kind of his responsibility there. But this is what you're going to start getting with McClain. This is what they had to switch to. Bringing guys down, and now you're bringing off the edge. He's coming to fill right now.
Right.
And now you got
down.
Like one for the back, two for the quarterback. What's that leave out here? Straight man coverage, which you got to be able to take advantage of.
And they tried a couple times. I think we'll see something, but letting them throw it once in a while really kind of helped, at least for a little bit.
Yes.
Open up the offense a little.
He can add this element too. If they drop back, because they did sometimes drop 8 guys. They drop back. All right, we'll take off. That's what it was kind of strange. He got in the red zone a couple of times, and when you're like, hey, man, it's third down and long, whatever. Take off. Get us in better field goal range. We'll take the points. And those are the ones he forces the picks in. So you're like, okay, a little bit better decision there. We come away with points. But it's things we can work on. One thing with him, though, he wasn't afraid to chuck it. He let it go.
It did take a few plays though, because those first 5-6 plays he was pretty timid in trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, I liked it. I think he kind of came into the game after he got to run it a little bit, and just give the guys a chance. That's all I think we were all kind of hoping Fortin would do on some of those shots. Just give the guy a chance. Let these guys, here they got some good receivers. Let the guy go up and make a play.
Yeah,
Xavier Weaver's a good player. Latrell Williams is a good player. Gregory's a big dude. Terry, you got guys that'll make plays.
Sean Atkins,
Bryce Miller, all right? You got guys that'll go up and make plays for you. They've proven it. Scholarship receivers like Sean Atkins will go up and make those plays. Give them shots. Same thing here. Kind of holds the safety, comes back to it. Give your guy a shot. Why not? These guys can play. I think the receiver group is pretty good.
Yeah. And Timmy split the zone there really, really well.
Yeah. Give him a chance. And then, so what does he add? This is a beautiful. What does he add right here? When we saw earlier, safeties are playing run, everybody's playing run. So when we talked earlier in the season about McLean having just a package, at least this is the stuff you were thinking about. Just that little jump pass, little wide pop there, just an easy, no read, just sell run and then get up and throw it. Really, really well done throw. Good job by the tight end there, selling run initially, then getting into the open area, making play after catch. I'm not going to show the targeting call, which was definitely targeting.
Without a doubt. Oh my God. That was so bad.
I hope Charlie Weiss was watching that game yesterday and saw what Jeff Lebby did with Ole Miss on that basically seam pop pass kind of thing, because that was dirty. That's something that you can incorporate with Timmy right there, and maybe you get some success. Maybe you score a touchdown, but just another wrinkle for this offense that maybe everybody steals from everybody and play calling, and I think that's definitely something I want to see heading in the future here.
Yeah, there's definitely some. If you have a guy that's athletic at quarterback, it really opens up a lot of things for you. If the guy can do a little bit, and McLean's a natural athlete, I think a natural thrower. Like he can make those athletic throws. Here, a classic rub route. You do not want to turn and smoke block this guy. You basically, how it's taught is you're running at his inside hip. Once they get like 2 steps outside of him, get vertical and just let him run into me while I'm trying to run downfield, and then run a corner route. I know that's how they taught it at Clemson, because this is what Renfro scored the game-winning touchdown on in Ray J. Was this concept right here, a rub just to the right side because you had a right-handed quarterback. But you can't do that. Like, this is just like that's going to get called every time. You cannot do that.
You telling me I can't tackle defenders?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, sadly, it got called here. But the idea is sound, and it's just got to be executed a little better. This is stuff, I don't know how much this guy's played. I think this is Gregory right here. He hasn't been here long. So just right here, just try to sell it a little bit. At worst, you make this guy run over the top, run underneath. You're not trying necessarily to contact him. You're just trying to get him off path.
Like run, like basically like a slant stick route, right? If you just show the quarterback your numbers, would they still call that? Like, that's blatantly obviously and terrible, right?
Refs are really getting bad at calling it more often. I say that as an offensive guy. Refs are calling it a lot more. The one USF had one called, I think it was Temple a few years ago, that was awful. You remember it was I think it was a Friday night.
It was St. Felix, wasn't it?
It was a terrible call where he actually did get to his hip, got vertical. The guy just ran into him. But no, you don't initiate the contact. If you don't initiate the contact, they technically shouldn't call it on you.
He initiate, without a doubt, because he goes in and pushes him in the chest to try and block him.
Yeah, it was almost a target. They almost could have called targeting as well. That's how poor it was.
And we knew how bad those refs were with targeting.
Yeah. So now you get 3rd and 19. This is where, like, if you're a veteran guy, you're thinking, okay, let's just make sure we get 3, right? Let's make sure we get points out of this drive. And this is something he'll learn. Right here, he sees that, but, you could just drop it right there. Or if you don't like that, stick your foot in the ground, use your legs. You got this guy moving, stick your foot in the ground, use your athleticism. What you can't do, and I had coaches yell at me all the time in practice about this, and yell at other quarterbacks all the time in practice. You never throw late across the middle.
Nope.
They'll beat that into your head.
Yep.
And
once you pass that hash, do not throw it back in the middle.
No.
And he's not completely past the hash, but if you go back to the beginning of the play, this is just classic prevent defense right here. You got an extra safety over the middle, that's kind of sitting there nearly as a contain. Obviously you've got the linebacker that comes up to try and swat that away, but you've got that extra safety there the entire time that Timmy never looks off.
No. You've got it. This is not the first time they showed this. They showed it a few times on 3rd and long. They're just going to drop 8 guys and make you complete it low, and if you try to force it downfield, this is what's going to happen. So just never lay it across the middle. That's a lesson he learned. I think he threw 2 of them. So he'll learn that one, but that's kind of what you get. And now we get back to Cade here a little bit, just to kind of end up here. Just some positive stuff towards the end of the game here. So this is not a bad this is a pretty good throw right here with stuff at his lap. I mean, right here, this is why I'm not totally out on Fortin yet. I think a lot of people are totally out. He made a couple throws with guys in his face that were insane. I didn't pull off, but right here, it's not the greatest ball, but that's not a bad ball. I mean, this dude's draped on his freaking waist, but for being this in your face, that's not a bad ball. He threw one, I think, to Weaver earlier in the game that was like sidearmed and ripped it to him with a rush in his face. He's got skill. You can see why they liked him. But then, there's not much you can do when you're getting smoked like this.
And
so this is just a simple stunt here. He's going to go inside to try to really pick the guard, and he's going to wrap around. He kind of notices it, opens up the gate. He's kind of sets and opens up the gate and just lets him go right by.
And I will say, after this possession, Michael Wiggs and DeMontre Jacobs did not see the field again. Yeah. Dustin Hall and Josh Blanchard took over at right guard and right tackle, respectively, because they got Cade smoked, and it was less than ideal.
No.
I didn't think Jacobs played all that bad until that drive. Obviously, this play's bad, but I don't think DeMontre Jacobs played as that bad throughout the first half. I thought he was overall pretty solid. Wiggs is consistently grading pretty low on PFF, and there's a reason why he moved from center to right guard, and it doesn't look like he's found a home at right guard either.
Yeah, I think the positives, right? It's hard to take positives, but watch how they handle this down here, this movement, because they're doing the same thing down here. This is a pretty good job right there. Passes it off. The guard takes it over. Now he's coming back out. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good right there. Just compare the two sides, right? Great job on this side, not optimal on the top. So that's just stuff you got to clean up.
Seth, right? You're so nice. Not optimal.
Yeah. So here's off the jet. You get a little counter. And this was great. Kick, wrap. I think is this Carter here that's at tight end?
Yep,
looks like it.
Watch his block. This is a great job.
Great job
by him.
Just drives him. Yep.
And good run. I mean, there was some stuff. It wasn't a total mauling. But I kind of wish they'd got some of this stuff sooner. It feels like they waited till later in the game to get to some of this stuff, and they were pretty good with it. Off the jet action again. Fortin finds the back out of the backfield here.
Was that a Brian Batiste sighting? Jesus Christ.
He's here. And Dollison. They're both here. They made it.
Yeah. Well, hot man. I mean, were they suspended for the first half or something, or did they forget about him?
Brian Batiste
forgot about him.
Brian Batiste listed fourth on the depth chart, and I couldn't tell you why. I have no idea.
And here's old Joyner. Remember him? Same thing, jet counter. The little guys definitely add something to just getting lost behind these big dudes pulling. I mean, these dudes have great feet. They've got good skill players.
But NC State also doesn't have, Isaiah Moore and Peyton Wilson in the game at linebacker. These are backups, and so
that's true. But I still think the backs are pretty good players. Here's a nifty play here. Here's a nifty play here. Cade's got an option here. He can they're pulling and have the shovel on. If this guy gets way upfield, if not, you're rolling and you have a pass. And this was actually a really good throw here by Cade. That's got to be caught.
You saw that again Sunday night, Florida State, Notre Dame. Mackenzie Milton ran this to perfection late in the game as Florida State went for the comeback. Again, everybody still, nobody is original in
it's all
college football. It's all stolen. It's all stolen valor at this point. Everybody takes from everybody, but again, as you mentioned, that's a good throw by Cade, finding someone open.
Especially on his back foot too.
Yeah, under duress. That's got to get caught. He showed some good stuff. That's good right there. rolling left off your back foot, and then there has a better angle. And then this play, I just don't like this play. I just didn't. I thought this one did not give them a great chance of success here. They're trying to drag him across, run him to the back of the end zone. They're just dropping 8 dudes, so it makes it a little tougher. Like, he's running a fade, that's basically out. He's running a crosser, and he's got all these dudes on him. That's out. And then you still got guys that can hang out underneath the back of the end zone. So I feel like that one, they didn't really give them a great chance on that 4th down. But they had a lot of chances to make plays throughout the night, and they didn't. So that's
that.
Yeah.
That was a Thursday night in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, I think I would like to see some more of those smaller backs. I think those guys are explosive. You just got to get your explosive guys in space. So
yeah, Brian Battie only played, I want to say 8 snaps. Kelly Joyner played 11, and I mean those are your leading rushers on each of the last 2 years. I mean, and that's Battie's 4th on the depth chart that was published today. Joyner's 3rd. I get that you brought in these 2 taller guys. These 2, obviously Jaron Mangum is a type of running back you haven't had. Darian Felix, the type of running back you haven't had. But you got to remember what's given you success each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think especially if you're running counters, if you're running power reads, if you're running stuff where you're pulling these big guys, those guys get lost. And then once they spit out, they're super explosive and tough to see, tough to tackle. So
yeah,
I don't know. There's opportunities to make plays that they just weren't getting made.
And I will say, Jaron Mangum, he ran the ball pretty hard. We saw that great, pull there. I think he gained 17 yards, and Battie was on the field for 11 plays or so, 5 carries, 8 yards. He had a long of 9 yards. So on his other 4 carries, he lost a yard. He did have the 20-yard reception. So he was getting his opportunities. Darian Felix, just another suboptimal game rushing the ball, 2.6 yards per carry. And then Kelly Joyner, 3 for 19 in his opportunities. We got to find some semblance of balance, someone who's effective, and go from there.
I think some of the issues in the run game can be attributed to the passing game having issues, because then you can start just loading up the box, and that makes it tougher on everybody. So
I will say I really was impressed. I know the offensive line, towards the end had some struggles that it could be just guys not being conditioned correctly, but I thought Demetrius Harris had a really good game, especially in the pass blocking department. I thought I thought Donovan Jennings was pretty solid at times. I thought, Brad Cecil was solid at times. And, it was a big step for that offensive line, especially considering where they were 2 years ago. Didn't allow a sack, which is, based off of 2 years ago. I mean, with roughly the same guys outside of Jacobs and Blanchard and, maybe some others on that right side. I mean, that's development in itself.
Yeah, those guys have gotten better. I think some of the sack stuff was, the quarterbacks did a pretty good job of getting the ball out too. But
yeah,
they have gotten. I think you've seen some of those guys grow, and a lot of them have been playing for a long time now, so they're kind of getting that development and kind of getting there. But it wasn't quite enough, to put it mildly, on Thursday. But they had some opportunities. It's never as bad as it seems. It's often never as good as it seems either. So it's kind of in the middle there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, Will. No sacks. The NC State defense had 7 tackles for loss, which better than I would have expected with how ineffective a lot of the offense was. And then, they hit the quarterback 10 times. So that kind of leads to, maybe sometimes those turn into sacks, but the quarterback was able to get the ball away.
Yep.
So we'll see how that kind of shapes up against this Florida defense, who, guys, I think
D-line, that lean is disgusting. Oh my God.
Yeah, they're really good up front on defense.
They have size,
sorry
they
to
have
say.
speed, they have, a 400-pound kid from Sefner.
Yeah. They got I think Hillsborough High's own Zach Carter. He's a Hillsborough guy, right?
Yep.
He's gonna have 40 friends and family there in Ray J. He's a stud. He's making himself a ton of money this year. He's really good. They play him inside and outside. It's going to be a tough matchup, but we'll see how. We'll see. Florida was at times played off a little bit and gave up some shorter throws to FAU, but kind of kept them from making the explosive plays. We'll see if that's how they're going to play it this week, or if they just come up and challenge USF to make plays over the top. I don't know. That's going to be the interesting thing to watch on that side of the ball.
Do you think Florida will respect Cade Fortin as they did Kosi Perry, or is
I don't know. See, the defensive coordinator, because Florida, one thing with Florida fans is they just want to play press coverage every play. If they don't see press and they see a ball completed for 4 yards, they're like, "What are we doing on defense? This is terrible."
Is still Grantham?
So Grantham. So he gets asked all the time about, why aren't you playing more press? Why aren't you playing more press? So they asked him this week, why aren't you playing more press? And he said they'd like to play press a lot. But there was a couple miscommunications on a couple third downs where guys cut guys loose when they shouldn't have. So I think they want to play press coverage, but there were times where he may say that, but I think their biggest focus is not giving up the explosive play to these lesser teams, the teams that they're predicted to beat, because that's kind of how you lose these kind of games. If you make these teams dink and dunk down the field, their chance of making a mistake go up. If you just let them have explosive plays, well, then now they only have to have one great play. They get over the top, you score a touchdown. Now they don't have you don't put your talent advantage on display as much. So
it'll be interesting too, because obviously Jules Montner is the quarterbacks coach now at
college
Florida. football. Yeah. So I mean, he schemed against Xavier Weaver and Bryce Miller and Omarion Dollison in practice all last year. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that transpires.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah. So that'll be and then on the other side of the ball, Florida's got a little bit of their own quarterback controversy.
Yep.
Is it really a controversy when Emory Jones can do that to a defense? And everybody in this room knows exactly what play I'm talking about.
You mean Richardson when
the Richardson run,
the hurdle?
Oh, was that him? I thought it was Emory Jones.
That was Richardson.
God.
He weighs like 250. Something came out I saw right before I came on Twitter. Good friend to all USF fans, Nick De La Torre, retweeted something or tweeted something about the fastest in 5 players in week 1 in terms of miles per hour. Anthony Richardson was 5th. He weighs like 240 pounds. Everybody else above him weighs like 180 or 200 pounds. He's a freak of nature. So I don't. It's a somewhat of a similar dynamic, but a little different.
Because they're both good.
Richardson. Well, no, Richardson. Mullen was going to put him in the 3rd series no matter what. That was the plan. So Florida comes out, scores their first 2 drives. Richardson gets inserted in, drives down the field, gets his helmet ripped off, has to come out for a play. The ref didn't see the helmet get ripped off. He has to come out for a play. Emory Jones comes in cold, throws a pick. And then Emory Jones is kind of not the same the rest of the game. And Florida kind of ends up winning ho-hum. Richardson breaks off like a 75-yard run. He hurdles a dude with 10 seconds left. It's kind of – so you're getting this where a guy wasn't really – you didn't think he was going to play, or if he would play, he'd only have a small package in the game. And then it's kind of morphed into something else. But
sounds a little familiar to Timmy McClain if you know.
But Mullen's done a pretty good job putting in just killing any type of controversy, saying Emory's the starting quarterback. What are you talking about? And those guys seem to be pretty close. But it'll be nice. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I guess that is one thing we want to talk about is kind of
You're right. Our tackling will definitely contain him.
Yeah, he's like a runaway freight train. That is something we want to talk about. Is kind of the quarterback stuff, and then some of the language used today in describing the quarterback controversy or what non-controversy or whatever. Well, you were there today, right? What did Scott say in the presser?
Yeah, so they're still going to roll out Cade, which is the same thing he said on his radio show. Said that Timmy should see some significant playing time, which is, what they were going to do last week, which, Timmy was going to see time last week against NC State. It just game situations obviously dictated it. They wanted to give, more to run. I don't know if he was designed to go in on the fourth drive. They had some packages for him like we all kind of expected heading into the week. Some running packages and things like that we saw, probably some red zone packages that we didn't get a chance to really see, if the game went the direction they wanted to. And then, towards the end, Jeff says, well, maybe Travis Marsh could also get some, run towards the end of the game. He and Jaron Williams are listed as oars on the depth chart at the moment for the number 3 position on the depth chart. It's still Cade 1, Timmy 2 on the depth chart, or excuse me, debut, since we didn't get one last week. But yeah, I mean, he basically said, yeah, Travis could see some time on Saturday, but the carousel continues to go round and round, and where it stops, nobody knows.
Literally, no one knows. Literally, no one knows. I don't think he knows. I
don't think so either.
And it's just so mind-boggling.
I felt a lot better about it until today when I heard I was
right?
like, okay, like to me it made sense. All right, they need a little bit of spark and they need to be able to run the ball. Put McLean in. He can spark the run game. You can hold the ball a little bit, give your defense a rest. And then today it was just like, yeah, no, Cade wasn't playing good, so we threw him in. It was like, whoa, like already? That was quick. That's a quick trigger right there. Like
this particular quote might be my favorite quote of all time. We're not playing 2 quarterbacks because it's the best thing to do to win the game. We're playing 2 quarterbacks to figure out who our starter is. I called my dad like shortly after the press conference. He was, worked for the Oakland Raiders for 20 years, and he's like, "This is a head coach telling you this?" I mean, it's just egregious. I don't know. If you don't think you're going to win the game, then why are you playing the game?
I don't think he said it as well as he'd like to, but what he's trying to say is it's not like Leak and Tebow, where Leak's the definite starter and we're bringing in Tebow because he just adds a little something different. It's that we thought Cade was the guy. He didn't perform. Timmy came in and gave us a spark. So we're trying to decide who's the better to go forward with. I think that's what he meant by it. It's still, I still was not, and these guys, we question their decisions. These guys they're at practice every day. They see everything. They're, we got to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But
sure,
I thought the decision with such a quick trigger, such a quick hook for Fortin after all the stuff in the preseason, all about his leadership and all that kind of stuff, it undermines that a little bit to the team. I would say if when the going gets tough, Timmy McLean gets put in the game. Like, that's tough. You understand that they wanted a spark, but it's got to be tough for Cade too, like to come back from that. But he's a pretty tough kid, so I'm sure he'll be all right. But it definitely makes things a lot muddier than they were this time a week ago.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think I don't want many people to put too much stock into how effective Cade was late in the game. Like, I understand, getting a confidence boost, but again, the starters weren't in, so it's really hard to gauge if this is, what he can be. I know we talked about, we showed even tonight there were some opportunities there, but I mean, those opportunities need to be executed, and they weren't. And I mean, with him now being put back into a quarterback competition after being anointed the guy, I mean, what can that do to a quarterback psyche? I mean, this he's been through a lot of crap over the last couple of years, and now it's just another thing because the first quarter didn't go well. His coach kind of I don't want to say give up, but it seems that way, and it's just I get pulling him to spark something, right? But then to stick with Timmy after the half sends a completely different message. Right, because they were close to scoring. I get Timmy was close to scoring at the end of the first half before the interception. So there is some momentum building there. But
you had there's your out. If you're like, I need an out, I can't take him out. He's playing well. Well, he just threw a pick, so there's your out.
There it is. He gave it to
you.
Yeah.
We just wanted Cade to watch from the sideline for a few possessions, see what Timmy can do. Reset at halftime, go back out with our starting 11 and go from there. But he decided not to, and then puts him back in after an interception by Timmy. It seems like the indecisiveness of this coaching staff has shown itself time and time again, especially at the quarterback position over the last couple of seasons. 10, 11 games in.
Yep. It's crazy, right? You've got now. Let's see, McLeod, Fortin, Marsh, McLean. I'm forgetting one.
Noah Johnson.
You've had 5 quarterbacks in 10 games that you cycled through. I mean, that's just not a recipe for success. I don't. And I wrote about it, a little bit, and how, I said that this particular era of quarterbacking isn't the worst era of USF quarterbacking history, but it's just it's the most unique in terms of you can't find a starter, and every time you get a guy in that looks like he could be the guy going forward, he either gets pulled or gets COVID or gets hurt, and it just it's just, what are you going to do? How do you get a rhythm going if you're a quarterback?
And what struck me watching games this week is, now I didn't get to watch it because we were watching the USF game, but CJ Stroud at Ohio State started off, he was in a quarterback battle this camp with a bunch of other 5-star, 4-star dudes. He won it, started off bad, threw a pick. It might have been a pick 6. And they are just like, we're going to stick with him and just keep throwing. Ryan Day said, we're just going to keep taking shots. I don't care. Second half, he comes out, throws like 4 touchdowns. Now the receivers are unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the thought that popped in my head was, this guy's like a 5-star, one of the top 3, I think, in his class at quarterback. It's his first time playing on the road, starting. He struggled, but they kind of let him work through it, because he's the guy that won the competition. Cade struggled. I was hoping they'd let him work through it a little more. I understand if they thought this is what they needed to do to try to get back in the game. I get it. Sometimes in the heat of the battle, you make a decision that maybe wasn't the best, or you go back. But then with the comments today, it was kind of like, well, that doesn't really see it. It isn't really how they're looking at it. So it's just
I'll be interested to see what Charlie Weiss Jr. says tomorrow for his, weekly appearance, kind of where he sees things.
I wonder what metric. I'd like to know. I wonder what metric they're judging them on. Like, what does one guy have to do to win the job? Like, firmly, are they judging them on completion percentage? Is it on quarterback rating? Is it just winning? Scoring? Is that? I mean, what are they judging these guys on?
I don't think it's one given thing right now. I mean, if it was,
because if it's turning the ball over,
right, you got 2-1.
Yeah, if it's completion percentage, neither was great, I think, but you'd have to go. If it's run game stuff, you'd go with McLeod, but they're going with Fortin. So I just wonder kind of what's the criteria. And, when I was coaching, we had quarterback battles. I was like, we're going to chart everything in practice. I want numbers to back up what we're thinking. I want to be able to say, hey, this guy's starting because he completes the most balls. He doesn't put the ball on the ground. He doesn't throw interceptions in practice and things like that. So what is that criteria for them?
Yeah, and I think they're still obviously, games are the most indicative of success, but just got alluded to the fact that they're still kind of using right now, at least in their justification of Cade getting the start at Florida, they're still using the last 8 months of practice between the spring and fall, and the first couple of practices of game week from last week to this week as their justification for starting him, because they know the type of player that he could be, is the way that they phrased it.
Yeah, and then on the other end of that, what's the opportunity cost to not just saying this is the guy, he's getting all the reps in practice, we're not splitting time up in practice, he's going to get every single rep, every single look at the opposing defense. You start splitting those around, and then this guy gets in the game. Maybe he didn't see that look very much during the week because he was splitting reps. So
right,
and it's just they're in a tough spot. I kind of just wish they would. I'm cool with the Fortin decision. I'm cool if they switch to McLeod or not McLeod, McLean. I think Nate, I think you're in the same boat. Just kind of make a decision and go.
Stick with it, right? And I quickly pulled up last year's season stats to kind of see how the quarterback play kind of broke out game by game. And from what I can see right now, and this is quick while you guys were talking, there were only 2 games last year where the guy who started the game also finished the game as the starting quarterback. Can you guess which ones they were?
It would have been Noah Johnson in Memphis, and it would have been McLeod against UCF.
So the 2 most productive offensive games.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a coincidence, but I find it interesting that a quarterback got start to finish the entire game. And, McLeod, I think he threw for the 3rd most passing yards in program history, threw 4 touchdowns, ran for another one. And he wasn't great, but he got all the reps. And this yo-yoing of the quarterback position it's to the detriment of the program, to these guys' confidence. And we'll harp on this until the cows come home. Right. And it's just pick your guy, stick with it. I was in a group chat with some USF folks, and they were basically saying, I get why they're not just throwing Timmy out versus Florida. That would suck as a true freshman quarterback. Just, all right, man, good luck. But I get it. But now you're throwing in maybe some hesitation, right? So if it is Cade and he gets through Florida, are we still going to have this conversation next week when it's FAMU? Are we still going to be, still having this conversation, when Tulsa comes to town, or, whatever the case may be? At some point, you've got to put your foot in the ground and say, all right, this is the guy. Regardless of results, we're going to figure out if this is the guy.
Yeah, and I think that, kind of to that, the goalposts are moving already. Before the season, we want to name a starter before the first game. Mission accomplished. Today, I think it was we want to make sure we know our starter before the first game of the conference schedule, right?
Yep.
Which is kind of what happened last year. Was we want to name our starter before the first game. They got the first game, okay. Next
we're
game.
not doing it. Yeah.
Not that. First conference game. And then it never happened. So, that's what I'm like, what are we judging these guys by? And then these guys all know what they're doing. These guys are all very good coaches. But, what is your criteria? When a guy hits it, let's stay with him. And then if he can't do everything you want him to do what he can do. Maybe these guys, maybe they don't have the guy that can run everything perfectly. And that's the problem. I want the guy that can run this RPO really well, do this stuff, do that stuff. Maybe you don't have him. You don't have Deshaun Watson. You don't have Trevor Lawrence. You don't have Taj Boyd.
This ain't Clemson.
You don't even have Chase Bryce.
You don't have Christian Robinson or whatever.
You don't have Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, what is the guy's name? Chris Robinson or whatever. There's in Oklahoma. quarterback that transferred to FAU. You don't have him. You have guys that have skills. They may not have all of them, but what do they do well? Do that.
There's guys on that roster with talent. I mean,
yeah,
the wide receiver room has moved the needle this year. I think Xavier Weaver's prime for fantastic things. I think, obviously Jimmy Horn is projected to be the next great slot receiver. Omarion Dollison even could pushes the needle. You have guys in those rooms that push the needle.
Yeah.
Dwayne Boyles, Antonio Greer on the other side of the ball. I mean, it's not like this roster is completely talentless. Yes, there's spots where the talent could get a lot better, but I don't think it's a complete void of talent as maybe last year at times was.
They've got the skill guys. They've got explosive players. I mean, you're saying Batiste the fourth running back? That dude is explosive. Like, he could start in a bunch of places and could maybe be starting here in a few weeks. You never know. Like, Joyner is an explosive running back. Like, they are so much more skilled and explosive than they were even just 2 years ago. That's one thing the staff's done a really good job of is keeping and getting explosive players on offense. They just got to figure out the best way to unleash them. And maybe it's doing something different than what they originally thought. That's kind of can be something early in a program. I think that was something that happened with Taggart, right? He wanted to come in and do it one way. And then he realized, okay, I don't have those guys. I got to change how I'm doing things. I got to fit it to what I've got. So maybe that's something they have to realize here. Maybe they thought, well, we were at FAU, similar, Florida, not quite the Florida State level, but right that next level down, or maybe a little, kind of above that little in between. We can, whatever we did there will work here. Well, maybe not. Maybe you got to change some things, So. Yeah. And that could be what they're learning. Last year being such a weird year, maybe they kind of threw it all out, and maybe there were some lessons they could have learned from last year that they threw out. I don't know. We're not in the room. We're not there, but it's all kind of speculation right now because there's so much uncertainty when in spots that they sounded pretty certain at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Agreed. And talking about the running backs, I mean, Batiste and Joyner, I mean, they're coming off 100-yard performances versus UCF last year. Like, it's not like they were terrible. And Batiste, his final 3 games were monstrous. Doing some quick math here, 166, 268 in his last 3 games. He ran for 76 yards on 10 carries versus Memphis, and then 86 on 13 carries at Houston. Including the 100-yard performance versus UCF. So it's not like the backs are devoid of talent, and it's really interesting that I get they're probably looking for bigger guys who can pass block, but it's interesting that those guys aren't getting more touches. And I know we're only drawing conclusions off of one game, but you got to get those guys more involved earlier in the game, especially if you can't throw the ball as well as you had hoped. Get these guys in space, man. Make it easy. Do some pop passes. Do something to create some sort of mismatch here.
I mean, if it ends up being McLean's the guy, super easy package to put in is just have one of those guys, have Batiste or Joyner out there, motion them out of the backfield. If the linebacker goes with him, McLean keeps the ball and runs inside. If he doesn't, throw it out to one of those dudes, get them in space. There's stuff you can do, and maybe they're just they wanted to see if they could do what they've done before, and now they're going to have to adjust. And like you said, it is only one game, but
Batiste had a great fall camp too.
I like him a lot. I know the guys in last staff offensively really liked him a lot.
Yeah,
and we're really excited about him coming in.
Yeah.
So
in that first play that they had, the Felix 16-yard run, I've been told pretty recently that they had, their first or second scrimmage, they had ran the same exact play on the first play or sometime early on in the scrimmage. And Batiste ends up getting the ball instead of Felix and ends up running past a free safety for an easy touchdown. So,
yeah, it's all the problem is they gave us so much, without all the kind of uncertainty that I feel like they've generated and manufactured their own bit of uncertainty when we felt just like after the game, you're kind of like, all right, that team was pretty good. They didn't play well. I mean, that kind of happens. But then all this other chatter and all these other weird things that are going on around the program right now are just kind of creating this weird atmosphere.
Yep.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And we'll dig into that tomorrow. We'll dig into all the atmosphere that you allude to tomorrow night. And I understand things are not great, and we've definitely said our piece on it, and we will continue to do so. And I just implore this coaching staff to figure something out. And you don't have to tell us whatever. Just go with the decision that you make. And I know Coach Scott, yesterday on his radio show said we're taking it quarter by quarter, game by game. What good does that do anyone? Seth, you played the quarter by quarter thing, and you've said multiple times that if you threw a pick, sometimes you thought, oh crap, well there goes my night. So what's the point?
It's a mental hurdle until you realize that and that was what and what's interesting about that is that was set first quarter, third quarter, second quarter, that was set. But I still felt like if I didn't play well, maybe this is the game. They're like, you know what, this guy's going in early, or he's not coming back out the third quarter, and that was set. Now imagine that it's not set. That it could just happen whenever.
That's exactly what's happening.
You're a little tight already, and now maybe I don't want to throw it in that tight window right there, or maybe I want to wait till he's wide open before I throw it. And now when you do that, you start playing poorly, and these issues just stack on top of each other. And the same thing happens to the other guy. McLean's like, all right, maybe I'll learn from my pick, but he's also like, man, maybe I don't throw in those windows, and maybe I don't throw in that tight window, because if that's a pick, and I got taken out for throwing a pick last game, even though it's not the same way, in his head, maybe there's some hesitation. You just want guys to play fast and play loose. And I think they said that before, just play fast, have fun, go eat, right? Right now, it's like the rats when they start shocking them in those experiments. You don't want to eat as much.
Yeah.
Once they start shocking you, it's tough.
It's simple. It's simple negative reinforcement.
Yeah. So it's early, but hopefully they find something that they can just roll with the rest of the year. I think consistency is key. But just hopefully this is just a bump in the road early in the year. These guys are good coaches. I'm sure they'll figure something out. It's just all the other stuff around the program and then some kind of just some of the phrasing of things just sounds weird and makes things spin out of control a little more than they probably anticipated.
And, I'm sure, this is the worst case scenario for the department, for Michael Kelly, for Jeff Scott, that tomorrow morning they're breaking ground on their indoor performance facility, come fresh off a 45-0 beatdown and everything else going on around the program and athletics and the university. So, Will, you have fun with that?
Fun's a term.
Fun's a term. We're gonna get the interim president's going to be there. Board of Trustee Will Weatherford's going to be there and speaking. Michael Kelly, Jeff Scott, some players.
Yep.
It's going to be an interesting, groundbreaking, and I don't think everyone at USF is prepared for maybe the types of questions, and I don't think it's going to be about the groundbreaking as much as they probably would have liked, 6 days ago. And that's unfortunate, but that just seems to be the USF way. They can't seem to get out of their own way.
They were trying to get a shovel in the ground at halftime. Let's start it up right now.
Oh man, it's a weird time to get up. I said this the other day. It's a weird time to get up every day, cover the university. It's a weird time to get up every day, go to a press conference, and drive 30 minutes across town in traffic to go to a press conference. It's just, I do it because it's my job, obviously, but like it's a weird time. It's a weird time, and I've never experienced anything like it in my 6 years of doing it, which I know pales in comparison to Nate, but it's a weird time.
I mean, I think one thing you can say to look at it positively is I think this group, I think they care. Like, I think there's been groups in the past that maybe didn't care as much about being at USF. It was kind of like the next stop for some guys. I think this group cares about. They wanted obviously, kind of take this thing to the next level. So I don't think it's for lack of caring and kind of not putting their all into it. I just think it's tough. They're just kind of treading water right now, and hopefully they can figure something out and get that life preserver. But
they've been telling recruits for months and months and months that the locker room is going to be ready, that the IPF was going to be ready by these certain dates. So I mean, this is kind of their Christmas morning, tomorrow with the IPF, breaking ground, because this is what they've been telling recruits for the last 8 to 12 months. I mean, that's kind of been their main recruiting pitch is, hey, we're investing all this into the program. And, to your point, Seth, I don't think a staff that, doesn't care about the program, doesn't care about the future of the program is going to try and, make that your main recruiting pitch to every recruit you bring in.
It's USF's opening their Christmas present tomorrow. It's just everything else around them is on fire.
This is fine.
This is fine. This is fine. It's definitely that meme, and we'll keep plugging along. I know we've got some more stories coming out this week. We'll have some more coverage. I know, Will, you'll have some stuff. What do you got? What do you got lined up for this week? Will, I'll give you 2 minutes here to plug your stuff.
Oh, geez, you're too kind. I mean, just groundbreaking coverage tomorrow. I mean, some typical game week stuff, press conference stuff from this week for Florida. Nothing insane. I mean, y'all are the ones y'all are the ones setting waves with your with the guest pieces, which were really, really well done. By both the doctors and Twitterless Jamie. So
yeah, I will say that there's at least one more coming tomorrow. So that's a tease, and it's not from me. It's from someone else, and I will definitely have something depending on how I feel after tomorrow. I think it's going to be cathartic. This podcast tomorrow night, guys. So make sure you're there.
And for
Eric,
the questions, I was going to say for Eric, I think that'll be something that's covered tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's definitely going to get touched on tomorrow night, and we'll have some special guests. I believe Dr. Carlo, who wrote, I believe it was the first piece that we posted. It was. We set them up like 1 minute apart, just so everyone kind of has them and can digest them all at the same time. She should be on. She actually lives in Hawaii, so it'll be an interesting conversation as she's strolling along the beach in Hawaii and lamenting about her beloved university.
That piece was the best out of the three of them, and she's such a fantastic mind. So I mean, I was DMing back and forth with her earlier today. It was kind of echoing a lot of the sentiments that she had, just as a student that has kind of not graduated, but graduated. I haven't taken one class in 2 semesters, so but we're still out here. But yeah, she did a fantastic job with that first article. I mean, it was just brilliant. It echoed a lot of sentiments that I know a lot of students have.
Yep, and I know, Seth, you are just so far. You want to stay away from those crossfires, and we are doing our best here to make sure that you don't get. We're making sure that you don't catch any strays. You're just here so you don't get fined. I appreciate that.
That'll be me tomorrow. I'll be behind the scenes listening. I'm just here for the football.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seth, before we let you go, you got some stuff to plug because you're writing for a new site too, man.
Yeah,
you're a busy boy.
Yeah, I'm doing some stuff for the old sister site, Alligator Army. I guess technically sister site's the right term, right? So we'll have if you are one of these bull gators, it's kind of a USF and Florida fan. I'll have something up about Florida's personnel groupings. I think maybe tomorrow morning, and then Thursday a little film review, shorter than this one. And that's kind of it. So this weekend's the Seth Varnadore Bowl. I'm really excited about it. My heart is up for grabs. And then Eric, good question about the Florida ticket giveaway. I think you put something out on Twitter earlier tonight.
Yep. I did put something out. So as you guys may have seen, USF softball player Alexis Buchman has to have surgery to remove some cancer that was, I believe, in her brain.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So what I've done is she has a GoFundMe. I've put it on our Twitter feed. Donate, screenshot, and you'll be in the running for those tickets. And we actually got 2 more tickets to donate as well. So we're gonna have 3 sets of 2 to give away for this Florida game.
It's super cool.
Yeah,
so
that's super cool.
Check
that's
out
awesome.
the Daily Stampede Twitter. You can see it up here. If you're watching this on Twitter, it's right there.
Yeah,
check it out.
Super cool.
You can see we've already had some people come in and donate. So
yeah, absolutely. So again, keep up the good work. I appreciate everyone donating, and this is the stuff that kind of keeps me around, right? It's I love this university. I want to be able to help these student athletes. So please donate what you can. I know Billy Mole donated $500. There's someone who donated $750. I'm not asking you guys to donate that much money. If you donate $5, you're in the running. If you donate $1, you're in the. I don't even know what the GoFundMe minimum is. It might be $1. I have no idea. It could be $5.
If you can't donate a ton, share it.
Yeah, please share it. Share it far and wide. Share it on Facebook. Share it everywhere. Get the word out. I know. I believe they've kind of already reached their goal, but I mean, give what you guys can because cancer sucks. Let's be real here. I'd be remiss to say that no one listening, watching hasn't had someone affected either personally or someone who has been affected by cancer. So please do so.
And if you want another, reason to root for Alexis, I mean, obviously she's a USF player, student athlete, but she's also a Bay-Made alumni, Alonzo High School. So she's, not just a USF Bull. She's a Tampa native, and obviously, Tampa is so extremely generous in terms of when somebody is in need. So.
And Nate, if people want to donate but don't necessarily want to share it publicly, or don't maybe want to donate and just donate and let somebody else have the tickets, can they DM, or what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. You get our Daily Stampede on Twitter. Our DMs are actually open. We'll get a message saying, "Hey, I donated," but if you don't want someone to know, or you don't want to be in the running, absolutely, you can do that and just let them know. I know Eric's saying, don't pick me. He's the guy who donated the tickets. So it'd be counterintuitive to give him back his tickets, I guess. So I appreciate that, Eric, and we'll keep it updated. We'll probably do the drawing tomorrow night after the podcast. So please continue to share and donate anything you can, because this is pretty important cause here. So be sure to do that, and be on the lookout for all of the works coming up this week from Seth at Alligator Army. I'm probably going to grab Seth for a Q&A that we do for every opponent.
It's easy for y'all this week.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. I don't know if I have to ask your editors. We'll figure that out. So we'll go from there and check out Will's stuff on Bulls 24/7, and we'll have coverage for tomorrow, and we'll have some more stories. I haven't read the one that Colin wrote once. Just a quick tease. Colin wrote the next one, and I'm excited to see what he kind of does with it. So again, be well, be safe, donate to that cause. We'll retweet it again here after this feed ends, and go Bulls.
Greatly appreciate you guys having me on. It was fun.
Thanks for coming on, Will.
Hey, man.
All right.